Corey.
All right, guys, what's up, and welcome to Town Hall episode number 47. I'm your host, Solid Jake, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host and our guest, Mr. John Hodgson. And John, just starting right off with you, actually, why don't you introduce yourself to our stream?
Right. I'm John Hodgson, but I go by John Z online and on Twitter. And I'm a technical designer on the Heroes of the Storm team. And I do a lot of hero design work. I do a lot of hero design implementation, some system stuff. I've been working on Heroes for about 2.5 years now. And yeah, that's what I do. I'm really glad to be here. Honored, really, guys. I love Town Hall and kind of getting a little geeked up about it, actually.
Oh man.
Well, we're geeked up to have you here with us. So just going down the line, Kev, what's up with you? What's new?
Not too much. Playing a ton of Heroes of the Storm, which is kind of par for the course, I guess. We should really kind of just stop saying that because we all just are like, yo, what's up to you? Oh, I'm playing that game that we do the podcast for. Been working with my girlfriend to build a huge gaming PC, and this is her first foray into doing one.
She's finally abandoning Max. Yes!
She's not abandoning Max. She's going to have
like
both.
Size-wise or power-wise? Like a whole
I'm
computer?
pretty sure
like
it's going to be like Interstellar, where there's like the light bending around the black hole. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen when we turn this thing on.
Wait, Kev. You remember that question you asked me?
Which? Oh yeah. Okay, so guys, here's my question, and it's also going to go out to chat as well. Would you end a relationship with somebody if they bought AMD?
Wow. I think the response is going to be rapid.
Well, AMD is never going to be a sponsor of Town Hall. That's confirmed.
Not me.
Hey, no, I didn't say.
Thoughts from individual hosts do not represent the opinion of the show as a whole.
I think AMD are fine, so I would not know.
Wow.
AMD are good for the solutions, for specific solutions, but
look at him backpedaling so fast.
They are. They're good for specific solutions. I mean, I wouldn't buy a Mac desktop, but I know Mac are good for other solutions.
Well, I built my girlfriend a PC and I put an AMD in it, so that's my answer.
All right.
You should break up with him, Miss Jake's girlfriend.
Jared, what's new with you?
Well, I know Kev said we should stop saying it, but all I've done is played Heroes this
That's
last
okay,
week.
Jared. I literally have done nothing else this week. So
I've streamed and played Heroes. I got rank 1 in the new Hero League, which means I'm just as good as Zuna and Soldier and all of SMG. Like I'm at their level right now.
Good job.
I'm, rank 1 with them.
Done.
So hypo. It's literally like been nothing but Heroes this week. Like I hadn't even played Smash at all or nothing. It's just Heroes and sleeping.
Very good. Kubis.
yeah, I wish I had a more elaborate answer, but I've just been playing Heroes. I did some casting over the weekend for Kings of the Storm.
Very good.
Fun. And I've also been working on a little secret project. It's the resurrection of Sonya. Just give it like a week or so. I'll have some sweet results for you guys.
So
Wait, are you going Leap or Wrath?
I can't
Right.
say.
He can't say,
Well, I
but
just
I've
said
actually.
I can't say, Jake.
Jake just spoiled it. He's going Wrath like a good
So
boy.
on Mondays we started doing this new thing where we play quick match and we do like really weird builds for heroes. Like we just try out stuff and Kubi's used this time to prompt like things that he thinks are gonna become like competitive. Like he's trying different things. Like I've been messing around with Thrall and like really weird styles with Thrall, like Chain Lightning with like a hyper sustain that you just spam Chain Lightning build. Like is it actually decent? And he's going to tanky Sonya and trying some other stuff out. So it's.
Well, I mean, you can say tanky, but there were a couple games where I topped the damage charts. Kevin,
But
do
it's
you
still
remember
a
this?
tank.
Oh God! Come on. I'm playing an assassin. These are things that I'm not good at.
Oh, okay. All right.
Rip.
That's it for me, though. That's just wanted to end with that.
What about you, Jake? You never tell us what you've been up to.
I know. Well, it's pretty much the same as you guys. A lot of heroes. We actually hit our peak viewership ever for casts, so it's actually good to see competitive heroes growing. That was really cool. It was a really good weekend and just a really fun weekend in general. And I, just kind of relaxed a bit this week too. Just took a couple days off and back into the Heroes grind now. But so tonight in episode 47, we do in fact have our special guest with us. So the first chunk of the show will be pretty much picking his brain about Heroes of the Storm. And then in the latter halves, we're going to be talking more about the most recent patch notes and kind of our first week of impressions on Sky Temple and Thrall and that kind of stuff. Some esports recap as usual. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about the ranked system that exists in the game. But that's what's going to be coming later. But for now, we're going to be throwing a gauntlet of questions at Mr.
This is my favorite.
Johnsy.
We should inform the viewers on when we're doing the
raffles? Yes.
Yeah, let's do a quick little rundown of the raffle, guys. So just a little bit of clarification on the raffle. As you are all noticing, and as per our graphic, put in exclamation mark raffle for everything to go through. Why is everybody laughing?
Because the chat is just exploding.
It's very apparent.
Oh. These are only NA beta keys. They are not the $40 offer that came out this week. It's just access to the beta.
Founders pack.
The Founders pack. Thank you.
Yeah.
What else did I have to say about that? That's pretty much about it. We'll be selecting those winners by the end of the show. And then we're going to be doing another set of winners after the show when we do a couple of plays. We're going to be doing a little bit of a play session. And so we're going to be doing more during the show and then a little smaller amount after the show. We're going to break Twitter, or sorry, Twitch chat. And then those keys will be sent out tomorrow.
Yep.
They will not be sent out tonight.
PMs will be sent out tonight, so if you actually get a key tonight, if you're actually selected, the raffle system is just a random system that pretty much picks names out of a hat, essentially. You'll get a PM today saying congrats you won, but you'll get the actual key on tomorrow. One thing that Kev brought up there was actually the Founders Pack, and we can actually just take a look at it to show you what it is here. This is the new Founders Pack, so if you absolutely can't wait for your chance to get a key. Now, there's more ways to get into Heroes of the Storm than one. You can get into Heroes of the Storm by just being randomly selected, and your account will gain access. There are keys being given out through streams like this and websites that are going to be giving them out. From what I can tell, I saw a post on Reddit at least. And the Founders Pack here isn't an option where you get a bunch of goodies to go with your beta access at a start. And you can actually purchase that now if you would really like to. But like Kev said, we're giving out a bunch tonight throughout the show. And there will be just a few periods where we do that. But again, the actual keys will be sent to you via Twitch PM tomorrow.
All right, let's get back to our awesome guest here.
All right, I got an easy one. We'll just
don't say that yet.
Just all right. So, how was work been this week at the office? So you must have had like a really hectic week.
This week has been really hectic.
Pretty nice, I imagine. Yeah.
It's definitely a weight off our shoulders to have closed beta out there, and I guess not this week, but last week, and then this week, of course, today Founders Pack going live. People are still, we're still on a little nervous, waiting to see if the servers explode or what's going to happen. But we're all very excited about it.
I imagine this is going to be a very stress testing time for the servers and everything. So, sure, engineering folks are like,
and then the next patch. We're getting ready for the next patch. We're always in this cycle of the next thing, and it's sometimes really difficult to keep in our head. But yeah, there's a lot of stress, but it's all well worth it in the end.
Very good. Cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, fluffest question. Let's go to the next fluffest question. We're gonna ramp it up easily. So, of all the heroes you've worked on in Heroes of the Storm, what would you say is your favorite? And next to that, what would you say was the most challenging?
I guess. So there's lots of ways to answer this question. I haven't worked. Okay. Well, recently, I think we've been getting a lot better with designing the heroes and pushing them out in general. So I think Jaina's really fun, and I really liked how she turned out. But she was kind of easy to put together from a design standpoint.
Yep.
And I really the Chen is like a soft spot in my heart because he's the first hero that I sort of headed, and I was really happy with how he turned out. Heroes that were definitely a challenge. And I have to remember in my brain which ones I can't talk about just yet.
Right, yeah,
Oh,
you
no.
guys have to
We're going-
remember
oh, no.
that
We're
they
going
have
through-
like a bunch of different builds that they have to go. So they have like I'm sure like production
Oh,
builds,
yeah.
and, like development builds, all this stuff. So he has to like figure out like which one can I talk about, etc. So just keep that in
There
mind.
really are a lot of heroes that are coming that are just more and more challenging. Actually, I remember Murky being like a huge challenge, and although I didn't head up his design, I was working a bit with the hero designer that was, so it's Ken Eric. I don't know if you guys have met him at BlizzCon or whatnot, but Murky was really tough, and as you remember when he came out, he was sort of not in a great spot. Like it was all
perfect.
He was so fun, but very
was-
frustrating for new players,
right.
I guess.
The new hero, I guess I could say a word about the Lost Vikings since we did talk about them
Yeah.
at BlizzCon, but holy crap, they were a challenge left, right, up and down. From a design standpoint, from a technical standpoint, just spent a lot of time trying to like restructure our system to handle multiple heroes per player. But we're getting it done, and I suppose the payoff will be worth it again. I'm gonna sound
They
more.
were
I'm
fun.
gonna say that a lot.
You see Jared's face. He's like,
I
Lost
played them
Vikings.
so much at BlizzCon,
Yeah.
man. I played like 30 games of them. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
they were a lot of fun. So, and I think the simplicity of it, although how complex of a hero it is, came off pretty well. So I mean, we'll see how things are when they get launched. But
I mean, if we got a grasp of them after one game, that's a good sign.
I'm really glad to hear
grasp,
that. Actually,
that's
yeah.
we put that in air quotes. But
Yeah.
I mean, we felt comfortable enough to understand what we were doing.
yeah.
I remember afterwards when reading Reddit and see Steve had been posting stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, this is what Thrall does, and this is what Jaina does," and then he started the Vikings post was like, "Okay, these guys are insane," and then instead of all right, good, success.
I thought it was great just because like it seems like it gives a little bit of hope for those RTS players that are coming over from StarCraft 2. Like, we're like, oh, where'd all our micromanagement skills go? And then it's like, okay, here's a guy where you can do micromanagement. Or it's like, it's everything I could have asked for.
It's true. It's true. The 3 unit control groups essentially is what Lost Vikings are. They all work a little bit differently, but it's definitely a cool hero, and I'm excited to actually have them in the game. So Jared, it's your turn in the round table to throw.
So yeah, like you have heroes like Diablo and Thrall who have been around for years and years, like 10 plus years for both of them. You have multiple iterations of them across several different games. How do you guys go about choosing which version of these heroes you want to implement into Heroes of the Storm? Do you prefer to go to like the most recent iteration, or is it like a more like a feel thing?
Yeah, it is. So part of it is time based, right? But it's interesting on the team the heroes team that I'm on. We're part of what's called Team 1 here at Blizzard, and that is the StarCraft team, the heroes team, and we're sort of like the oldest team. We've been working on all those old RTS games like Warcraft 3 and a lot of where those heroes originally came from, and then they went to WoW or is Diablo 2 going to Diablo 3. So it's interesting because we do want to have a hero that is freshest in everybody's mind. So we do look a lot to the most recent games and to WoW and to Heart of the Swarm. But we're also a very old. We're also sort of an old school team, and that we remember this is what we put in originally, and so there's a lot that we try to bring back. Really, like in Diablo's case, for example. We had the decision of going with either the new model, the sort of the Shiablo model as they call her, the Leah possessed model, and then or the old hulking Diablo 2 model, and then I think eventually we went to the Diablo 2 model because it sort of fit the sort of the power kit that we were going for. I guess I don't exactly remember why.
Just with the shadow charge and the slam and
Yeah.
that kind of like big,
Although
hulking presence.
Although Diablo did go through a lot of design iteration, it did not have shadow charge slam. It was really interesting. We had Diablo was a real challenge to make. This is a little bit off topic, but I'll talk about it because I'm sure Kevin wants to hear all of it.
Yeah, I do.
Originally, Diablo did not have any of those sort of pro wrestler moves that he has right now. He used to have lightning breath was baseline. He had we experimented with things like bone prison and like sort of a shadow thing on the ground that would deal damage, and people were we were playing Diablo and like, why does he always suck? Like, it feels like he's terrible. It feels like he can't hit anything. It feels bad. And we realized we were designing on all the mechanics that you are supposed to beat when you were playing against Diablo in Diablo 3. So I guess this sort of loops back into what we're talking about. When we look at another game, then we're like, okay, yeah, what does that hero have? What makes him unique? What makes him fun to play against and fun to play as sometimes? In Diablo's case, you could only ever play against Diablo, and you were supposed to beat him because you were the hero. And so there was a lot of boss mechanics, like you were supposed to dodge all that stuff. And you put a player in control of Diablo, they don't really like that. They want to have stuff that actually feels like you're doing something instead of, oh, he dodged my lightning breath again. I guess that was mostly useless. So I think Sea Change started when somebody, one of the other technical designers, his name is Nathan Lamouget, suggested, hey, we saw the Avengers, and there's the bit where the Hulk like slams Loki around like this. Like, wouldn't it be cool if Diablo did something like that? And we're like, oh, yeah, totally, yeah. We're like, okay, yeah, sure, let's try it. And then it felt awesome, so we retuned Diablo, and Diablo does less of what he does in the games, right? He doesn't have the bone prison. He doesn't have the teleport you to the shadow world thing. He doesn't have like a teleport exactly, but he still feels like Diablo, I think, because we gave him something that he looks like he might have, which is that flip and that charge, and just sort of a really angry, beefy dude, you know?
That's true. That's actually a really interesting point, because I remember there was another designer who was talking about when they redesigned Illidan, they were just watching Lord of the Rings or the new Hobbit movie, and they saw Legolas jumping around, and they're like, we want that to be our Illidan. So are there like any other heroes you can think of, or like really fun examples where it didn't come from one of your games exactly, but you took reference from something else and kind of like felt like that fit a hero, or are those like probably the two prime examples?
Those are
prime being a pun on the fact because Diablo's a prime evil.
Yeah. Kev.
There goes my train of thought.
Every week, Kevin ruins the show.
I saw that.
Sorry, guys, that was just terrible.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, good show. See you next week.
I don't recall off the top of my head. I know, like we had certain ideas. We didn't have, not from one of our games. A lot of our heroes came from, like, ideas that we had in like much older games, like even such bit units. Like Murky came from, in a way, came from the techies in, or what the techies were based off of in Warcraft 3, like the Goblin Sappers that you could buy and they would blow themselves up, and then they kept doing this over and over again. But that's an example from Warcraft. Yeah.
That's actually a pretty interesting tidbit of information. I didn't actually think
that's actually a question I wanted to ask, was heroes like Murky, Hammer, where you have some kind of free roam as to like what that hero is, where you don't have, that Diablo 3 boss fight to base anything off of. Is there any, like, is that like more or less challenging because of the extra freedom you have?
Yeah, it depends. I know that's a really wishy-washy answer, but like, yeah. If you don't have anything to base it off, like when we do have something strong to base it off of, then it automatically generates a lot of ideas for us. If we see Thrall and like, yeah, Thrall, he could do everything. He's got this Doom Hammer and he's got chain lightning, and then suddenly we have like a starting point for all that stuff. And even in the case of Sergeant Hammer, like even though her character is never showed up in StarCraft, we were really going for the fantasy of a siege tank, right? And so we definitely had a mechanic there. We definitely had a feel of like, oh, what is that supposed to feel like? Siege tanks are awesome. Like they're supposed to siege up, and then you're supposed to deal a lot of damage to buildings and things like that. For heroes like, Tyrael, I think is a good example of somebody that you never got to play as, you never got to play against. You saw him sometimes in the cinematics, but it was really sort of a blank slate. When it comes to mechanics, and so it was challenging in one regard. Sylvanas did this too, and I guess I could talk about her a little bit since we did reveal her a little bit at this con. That's another hero is like, wow, we have such a such a huge fan base behind it, and she is awesome, and Tyrael is awesome, and they're really cool characters, and they we have an inkling of what kind of characters they are, but we haven't seen them do a whole lot of stuff in a while, and so we have to sort of change the way that we design, where we're like, okay, we need to move on a little bit faster to getting to the mechanics, getting to the fun gameplay of it, instead of thinking, well, what would this character do, which is a great starting point for other things. Sometimes you can kind of get lost in the weeds, like, what would Sylvanas do? Well, she's got this banshee thing, and she's like an archer. I guess it's an interesting starting point. We had to lock down some like solid feel-good buttons to press, some really cool abilities that she would have, and then we fed off of those abilities that still fit within like her mechanical role, but maybe are not as reliant on what people expected her fantasy to be. And it might be a little bit hard to follow the way that I'm explaining it, but the long and short of it is that it is not a sort of slam dunk process. There's a lot of, this doesn't really feel like this character. Okay, well, does this feel more like this character? Is this like is it a tuning thing? Is it a sort of feedback thing? And then we have to go back and forth on it a lot. When we do that generally a lot more for the heroes that we're not really sure, or that are more of those blank slate heroes that you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sort of feeds into a question I have. We've been talking a lot, or you guys have been mentioning, at least with a lot of the recent patches, hero reworks. So you guys have mentioned in the past that like how you tune some heroes is based on feel, and like how much of that, like how does it change over time? Because sometimes you'll just say, okay, this hero doesn't feel right anymore. Like, did the hero feel right at a time, or did you sort of have like a placeholder kit because you knew roughly what the hero like was supposed to do, but you didn't quite have it nailed down like right away? Like how does that process work?
It does happen occasionally that we sort of miss the feel right out of the gate. I think the one example that I can remember was Tassadar. He used to have if you guys remember, he used to have that like
the bubble,
force bubble thing, yeah. And people were like, "Where's Psystorm? You know, like he's a High Templar. He should be floating around casting Psystorm." And we're like, "Oh man, we missed that," you know. And we were sort of so locked into the idea is Tassadar is a support. He has to have supporty abilities, and Psystorm is a big. There's nothing good can come of it. It's going to be death, right? We're going to put it on something, and people are going to die. So we listened to that feedback, and we did realize, yeah, we sort of missed the fantasy on that in that regard. I don't think that's happened too often from a fantasy standpoint where we need to go back and do a rework like that, but we certainly still need to do a rework based on like general feel of how the character on how the character feels, or like let's take Murky for example. Murky's abilities didn't change. I don't remember. I don't think Murky's abilities didn't change, but his playstyle certainly did. Right, he went from a sort of a backdoor hero to more of a team fighty hero, and the reason we like that is because we realized, well, we really wanted to play up the whole you die a lot and you come back continuously, and he is supposed to wear you down, but he's just supposed to do it in this interesting different way. When he was backdooring, he wasn't really dying, or he wasn't really exercising that cool mechanic because nobody was around there to kill him, and when they did, then like it created frustrating gameplay, which was a different issue. We do want to. And you had another point in there about tuning towards feel, and we do try to do that, and sometimes that does cause us to rework a character because let's say we tune something back, but then it's just so useless that it can't really be we can't really put it out in good conscience. Then maybe there's a bigger issue at stake instead of just changing a number or changing slightly the way that the ability works. Well, maybe the ability is just misplaced in general, right? And that happened sort of with Falstad with his what's it called? The one we just got rid of.
Aerial Blitzkrieg.
Aerial Blitzkrieg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know you guys were thinking Hinterland Blast because I know you guys love to say that.
It's the funnest name to say, man.
I'm getting used to it. I know it's gonna happen.
You guys did really good on Kings of the Storm. I was impressed. There was a lot of
Gotta say, man, that name change was a bit of a shock.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Can you mute him, please?
I don't have the powers.
But yeah, in Falstad's case, it was powerful. It's a big stun. It's an AoE stun. You can't argue against that. But it wasn't like if we tuned it down anymore, people weren't picking it anyway. Like it wasn't. It didn't fit his playstyle at all. Or like,
Right.
Yeah, we need to do something else here that sort of fits in to Falstad's fantasy, fits into what he wants to do when he's actually playing the game, keep people away from him. And we came up with the Mighty Gust. So yeah, it's whenever. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's I love Mighty Gust. It's the coolest
Epic
heroic
Mount plus
ever.
Mighty Gust. Oh my god,
Oh,
you make
it's
so many fun plays with
It's
it.
so
Epic
exciting.
Mount is awesome.
Yes, it is.
That is #1 fun talent. I was super impressed. I'm like, really, people?
Yeah, because
that's crazy.
We first looked at the patch notes and we were like, oh, they got rid of Blink. Like Falstad's like, where's his mobility now? But like, as soon as you play around with it, like the reduced cooldown and just the cast time, it's like, okay, I can do so much with this in terms of like utility with the new heroic.
Wait. Okay. So I remember last town hall, and I don't mean to call out Jared, but
Please do.
No, please, yeah, no.
So
I'll eat some crow, man. I'll eat plenty of crow.
Yes, you eat that crow. I was
literally
defending
unplayable
Falstad.
now that he's all.
I defended him. I will
Okay,
say that.
I remember that.
2/3 mobility, man, is shocking. Okay, but
You
he's
said
still-
it again. Now you're the one dishing out the puns.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jared, that was awful.
Going to bed.
No.
Wow.
I'm sorry, that was unfair.
That actually kind of leads to a really cool point. What made you guys start deciding on putting different level 20 abilities in there that are a little bit more hero specific? And I noticed also with Abathur at level 16, he now has a heroic upgrade too. So are you guys like playing around with that idea that like it's heroic upgrades aren't going to be at just 20 and level 20s are also possibly going to be a little bit more hero specific and not just heroic upgrades?
Yeah, we really want to explore that space a lot. And okay, so I'll tell you a story. Sort of the background in the whole talent system, because all things considered, talents are still kind of new to us. When we were putting together the game initially, we had a shop, and then we were like, this isn't really working, and it's going to screw with our balance in the long run. So we started putting in talents, and it used to be simple stuff like you get 10% more attack damage, you get 10% move speed, and we tried all kinds of different systems about picking talents and how they work and what sort of rewards you got at the end of certain trees. It used to be like a World of Warcraft, like an old Burning Crusade era tree that you picked things. We found that there's around the same time we wanted to experiment with some really crazy hero ideas, and the first one to come out of that was Abathur. And Abathur was designed in such a way, as he still is today, that he doesn't need attack speed, movement speed, mana regen, like all of these ways you would upgrade your hero were just not applicable for Abathur. So we had a whole bunch of talents that we couldn't use on Abathur. So we had like 2 talents in his whole tree. So we had to come up with character-specific ones for him. And then everybody found that it was just way more fun to pick character-specific stuff because it just really builds on your character. Like, oh yeah, I got Thrall. I am a Thrall master, and I understand like all of this stuff is thematic. It's fun to pick. I can sort of combo, and it's just mine. It's not a thing that anybody else can access. It's just my hero. And so we've been evolving on that more and more and more. And I think it's getting to the point where I'm noticing a lot of generic talents are sort of dropping out, like Resurgence, for example, in favor of more exciting, more hero-specific stuff. And we're definitely, there's all kinds of cool stuff that we have designed for hero reworks in the future. Not the ones that you just saw were Abathur. We did want to try something where he would have some level 20s that upgraded his basic abilities. That's where Hive Mind came from. And we figured that we might be able to get away with a level 16 talent that upgraded either one of his heroic abilities, no matter which one you pick. That's quite a bit harder because a lot of heroes, they have wildly different heroic abilities, and so it's hard to find a talent that would buff both of them, and you wouldn't be screwed for not picking the one that level 16 talent would let you pick, for example. So yeah, I would expect a lot more experimentation from us on where talents are going and how far we can sort of push it. We're having about as much fun designing this game as you guys are playing it, I imagine.
If you guys need another designer, I mean, I
You have to deal with
just
his
for
puns
Diablo.
every day in the
I
office.
might
so.
only work on one hero.
Lead Diablo design.
He would just make Decker Kane, actually.
We've got a guy on that, actually. His name's Zach Hopp. I'm going to just shout him out right now. He
Wow.
spent like...
Announcements right now, right here.
Yeah, if he's watching, he's a great guy. He's one of our tech designers. He worked for a couple, like a week on getting Diablo's shadow charge and then overpower ability, like feeling just smooth as butter. It's going to be awesome. It feels great. It does allow Diablo to do some things that he has not previously been allowed to do. So
Oh, you mean anything?
It's been cut.
Wow.
Jared, it's been a while since you played against my Diablo. It'd be a shame.
Lane off.
It'd be a shame if even in its bugged form right now, I were still to beat you in lane.
Wow.
I was expecting a pun, so I started shaking my head prematurely.
It was.
You know where we're gonna take this tournament to?
Don't even do it.
Seoul.
Ellen back?
So can you shed any light on like when it comes to like selecting who designs what and like what the actual like, I guess like how many heroes are in like a cycle at once? Like, is that something you can tell us?
Like sort of our development cycle right now?
Yeah.
It varies. It depends on how complicated the hero is, whether we're around a holiday, how much time we need to put into it, what are the demands of the schedule, like do we need we might need multiple heroes for a drop, or we might just need one. So, but when it comes to like figuring out who designs it and what that hero is, there's also a lot of factors. First of all, whoever's designing it is like, I am really super passionate about hero Y or whatever, and if you can sort of, if you've got great ideas, if you show that you're like really stoked about this, and you have some you're able to take the feedback to back it up, and you're like, yeah, totally, like go to town. We'll start working on this hero. There's also, now that we're getting closer to release, it's less of what we're really excited about. That does play a big part of it, but also sort of the demands of our game. Do we need more supports? Do we need more tanks? And then we constantly try to challenge ourselves on heroes that really sort of break the mold, like Murky, like Abathur, like Lost Vikings. We're going to continue to try and just go off into the weeds, and we want to have somebody working on a hero that is a little bit different, and a little bit goofy, or maybe a lot different. We also try to, it doesn't always work out this way, but we are trying to balance out the IPs too, as much as we can. Right now, we're a little bit deficient in StarCraft for reasons that I can't exactly enumerate, but we do want to try to foster like all kinds of different IPs too, because everybody comes to play heroes for a different reason. There's a lot of Diablo players here, a lot of WoW players, and a lot of StarCraft players, and they've got their favorites in all of those universes, or multiple universes, and we would love to get to as many as we can.
As long as you're not playing ranked, I mean, StarCraft is well represented, because on the ranked play page, the splash page, there's not a single StarCraft hero on that. Not one.
I saw your tweet
salty,
about that, and I
Jake?
was just like, oh gosh.
It's like 7 Warcraft, I think Lost Vikings. Let's see.
There
three
will come a
Diablo.
day. There will come a StarCraft reckoning.
Guys, you mind if I ask my question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like it fits right into here, and then we'll go
I
to
was
Jared.
going to ask that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, so my question is, because it kind of feeds into that. A hero's feel is really incredibly important. Understanding how Zagara is the Zerg queen and uses her minions to get the same feel from StarCraft is almost integral to her playstyle. However, how do you deal with people who've never played StarCraft and maybe don't quite understand how a hero should feel?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Okay, so we try to not only be loyal to what the character, what people remember the character to be in those games, but if they absolutely haven't played it, then we do have to sort of make the character look like it would do something that it would look like it. Okay, I was going to say would look like it do, but I just realized that whole sentence just exploded.
No, but don't. It ain't a fix. Don't broke it.
All right, so let me take take any. Take Chen. Chen is a big guy. He looks like he can take a hit, so we made him a tank. He could have easily been a sort of more ninja-y, or sort of a more martial artsy kind of assassin character, sure. But the way that he looked, the way that we wanted to sort of sell that to people who may not know who Chen is, then we wanted to make him more of a tank. He still got a lot of that martial arts sort of style to him, sort of that feel. We tried to work some combos into his kit, into his talents, but he's still a tank. For Zagara, it's not really it's a tough example because like she's already so foreign, which I guess maybe is why we made her a specialist.
She is all the way from Char. It's pretty far.
Gosh.
It's
You guys
true.
are
It's a fact.
It's in rare form tonight.
So, yeah, we knew we wanted to sort of like, I guess the whole concept is sort of an insectoid alien race with lots of swarming things. Like that's aliens, that's Starship Troopers, that's all kinds of sci-fi, and so we tried to make her play like, okay, well, she summons a lot of creatures to do her bidding. Basically, she's got the Hydralisk, she's got the Mutalisk, she's got the roaches that come down, she's got the what's it called? She's got the banelings, right? Yep. She used to, and this is another interesting, because I saw somebody on Reddit, I think, post this. Zagara used to have the Ultralisk, and Kerrigan used to have the
Devouring
Nidus Worm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we talked about that on the show once. We were like swapping the two heroics.
Yeah. I yes, actually, that's what it was. We were looking. I'm like, guys, they just said we should swap them back. No, we should do that. We found at that we were. The reason we changed that was that Kerrigan really wanted to just kill you. She had a lot of means to kill you. She had a lot of powerful abilities, and locking you up inside of a devouring maw didn't allow her to kill you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I imagine her having Maw and then the stun combo also being terrifying at the same sense. So I could see it going both ways.
It could work. It could work. Yeah, either could work. But we felt like it was a little bit more. It fit a little bit better on Zagara, so we ended up going with that. So, yeah, Zagara is a tough cookie because it's tough to sort of. First of all, it's tough to explain what a specialist is. We're actually trying to figure that out ourselves in some cases, and then figuring out communicating what Zagara is to somebody who's never played before. We did the best we could with like how she summons creatures, but how you actually play her, that takes practice.
That's true.
Yep.
I was terrible at Zagara. Absolutely terrible. I've said this story like 8 times. But I actually sat down and played like the StarCraft Brood War Zerg music, and I that game. I was just like, it all clicked, and I finally got it.
Wow.
Just for that one game.
Good call.
Just know.
It's true.
Was that your free week? I think that was your free week, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it was the free week I played against. I played Zagara.
You played a game and you were like, that was awful. I can't post that. And then you're like, I gotta get in the zone here.
Yep.
But she does feel perfectly Zergy. Like I just gotta say, she's spot on.
Nice.
So
that means a lot. That is good. That is great to hear. Actually, we're really trying to absolutely nail those things. And when they go out the door, then we don't always know. Like, are we gonna have another Tassadar moment where people are like, no, this is not who we thought it was. We get that a lot too with the Diablo heroes. because we get a lot of people saying, well, this isn't the build that I play with.
Yeah.
I see that being difficult to work with.
Yeah, that Diablo heroes are in some ways the most difficult because they're basically god tier in Diablo 3 themselves. They've all got AoE stuns and everything explodes and dies, and Diablo is just like a very different, very visceral, like everything is, you know, you have the power of everything at your fingertips, and you obviously can't do that in a game like Heroes. We can try to get it as close as possible in terms of feel, but even still, then there's going to be a lot of abilities that we have to let go because we're trying to fit it all into 5 abilities, right?
I actually was watching. My dad plays Diablo 3, and I never played it. I played like Diablo 2, and then I don't know. But I was watching him play the Demon Hunter. He has a Demon Hunter, and I was watching him like use strafe for everything and like doing the vaults, and the vaults were leaving the caltrops back, and I was like, wow, they got this character like pretty much perfectly. Because I'm like looking at this, I was like, oh, I know that ability. That's strafe, and that's caltrops, and that's this, and that's that, and it's like I was calling like everything he was doing. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started tweeting you about the Diablo reworks because he like beat Diablo 3 when I was there at Christmas. And I was watching the Diablo like fight, and I was like, "Oh man, what if Diablo looked like this?" But then your point about being Diablo is different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but I think we've had a big measure of success so far. So, but we're relying on a lot of feedback from the community in order to figure that out.
Jared, you can finally go.
I don't know if this one's been asked because they've all become a blur to me at this point.
Been
so
waiting for
interrupt
this,
me
been
if I
waiting for this
start
one
talking.
all night. The
as
Jared
hero,
question.
Yeah, the Jared question. These are the legit ones because Jake apparently wrote down half of mine after I wrote mine down. So
Mine were in there first, my friend.
whatever's, Jake. As the hero pool gets larger and it becomes increasingly difficult to avoid overlapping some abilities in terms of functionality, what is the design mentality approaching this moving forward?
The number one thing we're trying to do with any hero is make sure that it feels like that character. It would be so in that, with that as the standard, I am not going to say that it does not matter what sort of abilities that we put on them, right? That comes from what their role is or what we feel like the game needs, but they have to feel like the character that we're trying to go for. So that takes priority, that takes precedence. I don't think that the design space definitely is limited, but it's not as limited as you might think it is initially, right? It just takes longer to sort of think out and new mechanics, new ways to for people to play, and I think we're trying to prove that with characters like Abathur and Murky and the Vikings. So if I don't know, like I'm not too worried about our eventual sort of overlap. I feel like there's already some overlap in the game, like Stitch's Slam and Demon Hunter's or Vala's multi-shot, for example. Like they basically do the exact same thing, right? You can talent them differently. Talents are another way that we can really sort of diverge those two abilities, but they also look and feel different. And because those characters are different, they have very different roles. We don't often get the feedback, hey, this feels exactly like this ability. I feel like I'm not playing a different character, but we don't get that because they are completely different characters. We just have to be careful about where we put those abilities. If we make two characters that are very similar, then absolutely you're right, we got a problem, and we need to kind of go back to the drawing board. We almost ran into that with, we tried very hard. I talked about this a little bit at BlizzCon to try to differentiate our archers, for example. Because we had Vala, and then we introduced Tyrande, and we had to make sure that she had a bow, and she couldn't do all the things that Vala did, and she had to have it would be nice if she was a different role, and we did manage to make her feel a lot different than Vala, and then we're going to run into that again with Sylvanas. Okay, she's got a bow, she looks like she could be a Vala-like character, right? But we, again, tried to differentiate her as much as possible.
Can you elaborate on how you
I will not elaborate just yet on Sylvanas.
was a good try.
But
Had to try. Had to try.
needless to say, she will be different. I can say that. Yeah.
So you're talking about throwing all these new heroes in that have like very, very different feels to them. That's sort of like the overarching goal when you're trying to throw out these new heroes. How much, like, when you design these crazy mechanics that these heroes have, like when you make new maps and maps that you know are coming down the pipeline, or is there stuff that you know is like off limits, like things you can't go anywhere near, but like you know what I'm saying? So thoughts on that?
That is definitely a bigger has been a bigger challenge for us. I think you guys saw the aftermath in some respects of the Abathur nerf we did, where we took away the ultimate ability from his clone. Because doing that, we had to support all of the ultimate abilities that would eventually be in the game, and we've been going off the rails some in terms of ultimate abilities. And you're right, with maps too. On the one hand, we think it's really cool if some characters are more powerful on on some maps than others. For a long time, we thought Falstad would just be really awesome on maps like Dragonshire because he could get to the control points. We found that, while he's still really powerful and he still can do some neat things that no other character can do, it didn't break the game exactly. So we can keep that, and it sort of emboldened us moving forward. It's like, okay, yeah, we know that this hero is probably going to be really good on this map, but that's okay. That's one map. This is one hero. I know it's a pretty big concern from a competitive level because you guys are always concerned. You guys are always looking out for whatever it is, no matter what. It's got to be the most powerful. We think those things are actually interesting, and they create stories in the game that are fun to play around. I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Which is we're not too worried about it. We have had plenty of instances of, oh no, we absolutely can't do that because of mechanic action. We're like, oh yeah, I remember. Damn it. I was really sold on that. Yeah, there's been a lot. I think when certain heroes appear, I will be able to tell more stories about things that were tried and we just couldn't make them work because of
something that already exists.
Yeah, something that already exists or something that is coming. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. Thanks.
It's tough.
Oh, you went muted. You muted yourself somehow.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Tim, help! Tim, help!
Hey, do you have one of those like backdrops you can put on?
I
Like,
just imagine. I just imagine Tim busts in and he stole the Frostmourne before because he was getting into his Arthas costume, and now it's just really awkward. He's like, "I was practicing my Arthas."
Oh
Anyway,
no, it's funny.
That's just what my little imagination just came up with.
Sure,
So,
we'll get John back in a minute here. But,
we
got you.
Here we go.
Oh, I'm back.
Yep,
You're
you are
back.
back.
You're
Take
alive.
the
Okay.
cable.
I think I was excited. I want to tell you guys about these heroes that we're working on.
The powers that be unplugged.
I just can't. I would be more fired than I already am for having favored Quake over StarCraft, but yeah, we'll see.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How much time do you actually have with us?
This is a
Yeah,
good.
we were told he could go
We have
10 more
another.
minutes.
We have
Very
10
good.
more minutes. So, Kuba, you have another question, don't you?
I have a question.
Yes.
Go for it. Jar.
So you're on the, you mainly focus on the
We're all good.
heroes.
Sorry.
Tim,
It was Tim. Tim is here.
he came to save the day.
Was
Yeah.
it just
Actually
as
beautiful.
He just hunted right in. Yeah. He was,
Across the office.
So has there ever been like an extreme case where like you guys you design a hero and then you send it over to the balance team and they're just kind of like, you can't balance this, remake it. There's no fixing this. This is too good. Or how closely do you personally work with like the balance team and has there ever been a moment where it's just like
we are
you guys
getting
butt
much
heads?
better. We're getting much better at balancing, and we're getting much better at sort of disciplining ourselves in our design, so that balance will have an easier time working with it. Balance, they can fiddle with numbers all they want, but at the end of the day, we need to create these hooks for them to tune, right? If there's some abilities that
He's thinking of citrus puns. He's smiling.
What is it? Oh yeah. Oh,
the
okay.
hooks.
Yeah. Stitches. Okay. So let's talk about Stitches. Let's talk about Stitches. Okay. Totally. So in Stitch's case, yeah, you're right. The power level of being able to, you know, totally separate one guy from the group and then just murder him, right? Stitches is extremely powerful right now. We're looking into solves for that very issue. That does not take away his core ability, which we feel like Hook is the biggest part of Stitches. We feel like it's the most exciting, most fun part, as well as being powerful. So we'd like to and we still want him to be a tank. So we're going to be looking into solutions on how to keep that stuff, because design will have pillars in the ground and say, no, we shouldn't touch this. We really want Stitches to be a hooker. We really want Diablo to do, you know, X. We really want Vala to strafe. We really want, because that is integral to the feel of the character. But we do have to be responsible of, like, what can we change about it? Can we change the range? Can we change? Obviously, we can change things like cooldown, mana cost, range. But there are other things within the abilities themselves that we might be able to change. Like, I don't know if you had let's take Murden, for example, right? Like, what's the stun time on his Q? We can tune that. What's the damage? What is the radius of the thunderclap? How far back does he punch people with his haymaker? And so there's a lot of, as long as we're cognizant of balance, of putting those tuning knobs into the balance, then usually the balance guys are on top of it and being able to deliver what the feel that we want for the character while still making it fair to play against. And we're constantly working on that, obviously, right? Like, there's always going to be a most powerful group of heroes, and we're constantly going to be looking at them. And sometimes it's not just nerfing the most powerful stuff, but it's buffing other things that can counter that. I don't know. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Cool.
Kuba's making a face of disgust right now.
I am.
Yeah, you look like
Jake, you haven't asked a question in a while.
I know, I've been full raffle
He's been doing
mode. I've been
raffle.
It's actually really hard to do everything.
Okay. Well, if
he's
you
been
don't
doing a lot of waffle things.
by the way, Waffles did win.
Boom.
in
Wow.
Waffles Pancakes.
Get wrecked, Kubi. Get wrecked.
So there's that.
Did I ask all my questions though?
You know, you asked all of mine, Jake.
Okay, all right. You touched upon this a little bit, but let's see. How do I word this delicately so that you can answer it? There's
Is this some kind of sly way to get me to talk about
no, not at all.
Oh,
If you had to design Deckard Cain, would he be like Macho Man Randy Savage, like his early 20s? Like, oh yeah, Haradrim. No, go ahead, Corey.
Straight hijack. All right, I'll put it bluntly then. How do you feel about the balance of the game right now from a competitive standpoint? Like, what jumps out at you, and what I realize this is going to be difficult.
Tell you what doesn't jump out at you, barbarian.
Oh my god.
How do I? Like,
So, all right, I guess I can first ask, like, how much you guys are watching competitively, but like, how closely do you watch specific tournaments in terms of like what is strong this week, and you know what I mean, in the sense of like how much data can you pull from one single tournament?
I would be so as my job as a designer, I'm primarily focused on trying to make things fun,
Okay.
and trying to put interesting things in the game that people would love to interact with and get as close to these heroes as possible. The balance guys are very concerned with tournaments, what we're seeing on in Hero League right now, pick rates, and how often they win, for example. And we all play live all the time, and we know when something feels unfair or broken, and we want to do something about it. It's just a matter of time, and it's a matter of doing it carefully so that we don't have to go back and do it again. It's always, sometimes we sort of undercut things, because then I know I'm going to catch so much crap for this, but if we because I know you guys are going to come up with like 10 examples of like, you nerfed this into the ground. You guys just told me you wouldn't undercut it. I'm like, yeah, but it didn't seem that way at the time. You know, like we're constantly, we are watching those tournaments. Right now, though, even though there is I'm not, even though there's a burgeoning a tournament scene and a competitive scene. Our primary goal in beta testing is getting the game to play that we want it to play and making it play fun.
Okay.
So
That's fair.
yeah, and we certainly don't want to. We still, one of our values is sort of to try and we do want to balance for that fun. We want to balance for the feel. If something feels unfair, then we're going to do something about it pretty quickly. If something doesn't feel unfair, but that hero is pretty powerful, I could name one hero, but I'm not. Yeah, it doesn't feel unfair, but it does. But that hero is constantly chopping the charts. Maybe we just let's let it sit for a little while and see where it goes.
It's okay. He's banned from tournaments right now anyway, so we're good.
Oh, him.
Yeah, Diablo is banned from tournaments. It sucks. It's the worst.
Not who I was thinking of. But
No. Anyway,
I'll leave that to your. Yeah.
I think a really good follow-up question then is so all right. Loaded question. Do you personally watch the tournaments like as of late, or just
Yes.
do you kind of like catch little briefs? Have
I
you
watched-
looked at a tournament and looked at the hero pool and been like, wouldn't it be really cool if we had a hero that did X, Y, and Z? Or you were looking at it and you're thinking about a future hero that you guys are working on that hasn't been released yet, and you've seen like mechanics that are missing that maybe you'd like to see in a tournament?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's really cool to
There's
hear.
a lot of stuff that wow, wouldn't it be cool if we did that strategy? But oh yeah, but we have this hero. Maybe that hero.
Yeah, I didn't want to lead
That-
you into the question where you exposed, but I was just curious if that is a thing that goes through your head, because honestly, that would give
Absolutely, And I think some of that is more subtle. Like we need to watch a lot of tournaments in order to figure out. Yeah, we're kind of noticing trend, not in what's picked exactly, but sort of the strategies that are forming and that is just sort of consistent and sort of this undercurrent, and that might be solved by another hero, or maybe we're not even recognizing it, and then the meta shifts anyway without us even doing anything about it. There's also a lot of situations you guys know of something where we say, wow, that's actually a huge problem, like at the BlizzCon tournament when we saw Resurgence just not allow games to end.
Yeah.
It was just constantly, we were in the stands turning to each other like, we got to do something, like this isn't right, you know. Because we were feeling it online too. We just couldn't exactly. Once it's in front of everybody, it's different when it's in a tournament because you know everybody's watching it. And
Right.
You know that there are people that are playing the game that their livelihood is sometimes on the line, and we want to make the tournament fun to watch. We want to make the game fun to play. That isn't to say. This was what I was going to say a little bit earlier, but we do not want to sort of like design ourselves into a meta. We don't want to say take what the meta is right now and it's like, okay, now all of our heroes have to sort of fit into this slot, because the meta can change at any time, gradually or shift suddenly when we introduce a new hero. So we need to be very careful about that to not sort of get locked into. No, this is the way things are now, therefore we need to balance for this. We still want to do crazy hero designs. We still want to do talents and that sort of break the mold and make players sort of cheat the system in ways that we think is still fair when compared to all the other heroes, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Cool.
That's awesome. No, I mean, like, honestly, so we're 4 heavy players as well as commentators and everything else, and like that just gave me a little bit more of a booster to like go commentate and do things. It's like, yeah, I'm changing the game possibly. Or at least,
Maybe.
at least the people who are I don't know. Maybe the people who are playing it are doing it. I'm just kind of explaining what's actually going on. Well, whatever, it's cool.
All right, so going out there on a limb, if you were able to pick one Overwatch character that you could design for Heroes of the Storm,
Wow.
what would be your first pick?
I don't know.
Okay.
If that's not a question you can answer. If that's
You're
not a
basically
question you can
asking,
answer, you
you're
can.
basically asking me what my favorite Overwatch hero is?
Pretty
Is that-
much. That's pretty
Okay.
much.
And why is it Reinhold?
I actually.
Tracer hype.
So first of all, Tracer basically designs herself, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah, I'd agree.
I am super excited to get to work on an Overwatch hero. We'll get to them eventually. We want to have the game come out. My favorite Overwatch hero that I have played. Reaper's not my favorite, but I'm probably the best at him.
Best Reaper NA.
I feel like I'm much better at Reaper than other heroes. I really enjoy playing Mercy. I think she's my favorite right now.
Ooh, Mercy's.
Ooh, a support
Mercy's
that can
cool.
fly over lanes would be so fun.
Hey, you said it, not me.
I know. I'm theory crafting in my head. I'm getting excited. All right,
Yes. Slapping our
Space
wrist
Monkey
right now.
dude. Yeah, Space Monkey dude would be great too.
Winston. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
Winston.
chat said.
Gosh, you guys aren't even true fans.
Yo, I've got a Winston shirt, son. Come at me. Not on, but
Yeah.
We ran 5 Winstons at
Guys, trust
BlizzCon,
me, I
so
do.
There are so many
Okay.
good heroes that we really want to put in the game. Overwatch is just scratching the surface. Like, obviously, we're really excited about that, but and seeing Reddit, seeing the forums, seeing all these fan sites and emails that we get internally, like, hey, I'm a huge fan of, this one hero. There's one character that you might have saw maybe in a side quest in World of Warcraft, or like, when am I going to see Wareve from Diablo 2? And I'm like, I'm really humbled actually to, and that's why we take so much care and time and putting into these heroes, and really trying to nail what they are. We will do Overwatch at some point. I am super excited. I felt bad answering that question because it might not be any of those. Might be somebody.
Okay.
hypoo.
I asked the hard questions here.
all right, guys. So thank you so much, John. I believe our time with you is up because we want to send our poor Blizzard employees home so they can go back to their families.
Thank you, and also spare me from the really hard quitting questions. I would like, Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, man, we got a Deb on our show. Like,
It's actually ridiculous.
this is like a dream come true, man. Like, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And,
I love talking about this stuff.
You did a very good job answering the questions, I feel. So,
Yeah,
coming from me,
Kobe's questions, man. If he's impressed with your answers, we get off the show and he's like, I didn't like any of your answers.
Did we have a legitimate Kubi question?
No,
no, we didn't. I mean,
Is
they were
that-
all
is that not a
good
thing?
questions.
but I had one that was voted down from the rest of the team. So, I'm sorry, guys. Yell at them.
Hey.
Oh, like to have an actual.
He
quiz
votes down our
question
answers.
segment.
We vote
Yeah.
down his questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be rude.
All right, John. So, any shout-outs you'd like to give? Now is the time for that.
Okay. Shout out to the dev team. I'm just one guy, right? I named Nathan Lamouget, Zach Hopp, and the balance guys, Brett Crawford and Alex Naiman, and all of those guys and more. There's hero designers, Ken Eric, Matt, Hugh. Like, we are working really hard to make this game, and I'm trying to represent what the entire design team thinks about the way that we're doing business here, and I hope that I'm sort of doing justice. So big shout out to those guys. Thank you for working in the time that I am sitting here being on this awesome town hall show. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for working on this game and actually like sitting down and watching our show, watching our tournaments and stuff. That actually means so much to us as well. So,
Yeah, totally.
all right, guys. Well, we're going to throw to a quick commercial break as we get ready for the next segment of the show. Keep on sending those raffle, ! Raffle. Now, you only have to do it once. Now, if you're in the chat, if you do it once, you're in, you're good. If you do it multiple times, it doesn't actually count extra votes. So
Nice try, though.
So, yeah, it doesn't actually, you're not going to get disqualified, but it's also not going to help you out. We are giving out more keys throughout the rest of the show. So, stay there. If you do get a key, you'll get a PM. So make sure you check both your inbox and your other box on Twitch. I'm not sure where it's
All the
going to end up
boxes.
because there are 2 inboxes. So just keep that out. But it will be announced in chat if you got a key as well. John, once again, thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Been a pleasure.
And we'll be back in just a few minutes, guys. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we are back here with episode 47 of Town Hall. Now, if you're just tuning in, remember to type !raffle in the chat, but only type it once.
I don't think you have to remind them. They are
They got
well
it
aware of what's
unlocked.
going on.
They're a well-oiled machine at this point.
This is like, sometimes when I'm watching Kriparian, I'm like, how does, like when I stream, I read chat. Kriparian doesn't even look over anymore because it's just a flood of waffles and stuff.
There's
Like,
no handling
waffles.
that.
You know what I do just to make myself feel better? Every time I do a really bad joke, I look over at chat because it kind of looks like raffle. So I'm hoping that everybody's just laughing at my jokes.
Oh, gosh.
So, real quick hype for Town Hall is that we just passed 500 followers on Twitter. In fact, we've surpassed it quite a bit this show. We're up to 517. So guys, do us a favor, as I keep saying in chat, we have a Facebook page and we have a Twitter. We'll be holding raffles later on this week, not tonight, not anything, but do yourself the favor and follow and like our Facebook and Twitter page. They're both /Town Hall Heroes for both of those social media profiles.
So yeah, keys will be there, but that doesn't mean that there's no more keys tonight, because we will have keys throughout the rest of the show. They will continue to pop in the chat.
and after the show.
And after the show, we're doing post-show games where there will be even more keys going out during that. So follow everything, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. And we're going to keep on pushing along here with the show. Now, actually, next topic we have here. So just, again, shout out to John and Blizzard in general for letting us have John on our show. That was phenomenal. But we're going to be diving into the Hero League leveling. And we actually are blessed to have a rank 1 player here on the show with us, Mr. Zoya.
You should be honored.
I should be.
I'm not.
How was your experience?
It was like, so overall I want to say that I do enjoy Hero League. It is a nice change of pace from the versus mode that we're used to. Having the draft even without a ban and without swaps is definitely a lot more fun to grind out those games. Not having the mirror matchups makes a huge difference as well. So overall it was very enjoyable to play, but from the ranked actual leveling up system, I mean, it's a joke, really. It's not that great of a system when, I'm the same rank as Zuna. Like, don't get me wrong, I try and be good at game. I try my hardest to improve and stuff. I try in game, but
Try to be good at English too, my friend.
I should work on both those things, but I am not good. I've got a long way to go, and the fact that I can achieve rank 1 within a week of the system coming out, that's. How do you feel like the top players?
You grinded pretty hard, and you played with top level players as well.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that the fix for it would be just having legends like Hearthstone, or what's the fix?
Well, like that right now, the main problem is you can have a negative win-loss ratio and still get to rank 1. Even from rank 2 to rank 1. You get 70-something points for a win, and you only lose 60 for a loss the whole way. And you never lose more points than you win, and you can actually, if you play enough games, because you will always, no matter what, and then when you level up, you're given a free 100 points into the next level as well. I think Dreadnought said that you could have, I think Dreadnought did the math, it was like a 16% win rate, and you can still get rank 1.
Wait,
16?
hold on.
16.
Come on.
No, that's not possible.
Because when you level up,
wait. You get 100 bonus when you level up.
You get 100 bonus when you level up.
Yeah.
You start at 100.
Okay, 16% win rate over how many games?
Over a lot of games, of course, but that's still not.
Thousands, probably.
Yes, but that's still an achievable thing. Where if you can get a 16%,
right.
even anything less than 50% should not be achievable for rank 1 in a competitive atmosphere.
Okay.
But the fact that it can go all the way down to even 20%.
All right, so. Yes, the numbers are not there right now, but so you're basically saying if the numbers were tweaked, this would be fine. Everything would be okay.
Well, I mean, it would be a step in the right direction.
Okay, so
there's a lot of things that need to be tweaked.
Tweak the numbers, and then I'm talking aside from the rank, just the leveling up system. Tweak the numbers, and then have like a leaderboard at rank 1, and that would be fine. So when you
that'd be much.
It seems pretty harsh to be like, this is garbage.
I didn't say that. I started off the whole conversation with, I enjoy the system. It's better than before.
I think you might have used the word trash.
Well, the fact that I'm the same rank as Zuna is trash. Like, are you gonna?
Okay, all right, but it's.
I think you're twisting my words here, not the other way around. Like, if I'm the same tier as Zuna, do you see that as a good thing? If I was to go play Smash and be in the same tier as Mango, would that be a good thing as well? Like,
they just put this out. They just put this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying there's a lot to be worked on here. Like, you're saying this is fine for it just being released, where I like.
Yeah,
it's something.
It's something.
I started the conversation with this is better than before. That I like the draft system.
Okay,
like, I didn't start it negative.
Okay, well, but I guess like I mean, do you think that even if you can kind of progress as it is, maybe make it a bit more harsh, maybe make it a little bit harder to progress through, so you can't have such a negative win. Maybe you have to have like a 50% ratio to advance, 50% win rate to actually progress. Is Legend still like what's needed? Does it need to get a little bit more strict after rank 10? Like, what do you think the fix is personally, as someone that's got, because it only gets harder at what, rank 5? 5
at rank 10 plus. Rank 10 plus, you start getting less than 200 to win, but you always will get more per win than you'll lose for a loss the whole way there. Until you're rank 1, because at rank 1 now you only get like 1 or 2 win points per win, and you lose like 20. It's really weird how it works at rank 1, but I don't know, like, I'm okay with like how the Hearthstone ladder works. Like, you know, I don't look at Hearthstone and be like, yeah, it's grindy, but you know, once you get to Legend, it feels much better, you know, because you have like a number to work toward to compare to other players. So that would be fine. I mean,
okay.
There's obviously a lot to be desired, but it's definitely more fun than before.
I mean, okay. The competitive scene does agree with you. Matt was nice enough to give me some numbers from his recent. Matt being CS Steve, shout outs to him for putting this together. He did a bit of a survey between the competitive players, and he polled them on random questions about the Hero League and all this stuff. And I think there were 90-something people polled, and it was fairly close split between NA and EU. 87% say that the Hero League is not indicative of skill. So
yeah, I agree. When you look at rank for skill, I'm the same. Like, there's no distinguishing the difference between. Like, if I was to show you, if you were to be given a list of everyone that's rank 1 right now, you'd have me there, and then a bunch of like good players. That's, you know.
I like how you differentiate yourself so far from the good players. It's like it's me, and then people who are actually good at the game. Like, I get like, but I find it funny that you put yourself down so much.
I mean, I know I'm not as good as those guys. Like, if you watch my play versus theirs, it's quite apparent. Not just to my viewers pointed out online, but I can tell too. Like, I've cleansed like 2 hooks out of attempting like 50, and then like you watch the pro games, and like every hook is like boom cleanse, boom cleanse. Like, there's a big skill gap there, you know. And it's again overall better, but I think we can all agree that there's things that need to be fine tuned, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, ranked play right now. I mean, so I've been playing a lot of solo queue because normally when I'm on is like when everybody's scrimming, and so it's like kind of rough for me to actually get. Holy, that's that's rough.
There doesn't seem to be any tangible MMR system for the queuing, by the way.
No, there definitely is not.
We'll like one game we'll queue into Maelstrom, and then one game we'll queue into people who just hit 30.
Yeah, no,
and like they'll be first picking Murky and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like, and there'll be instant queues too. Is the thing. Like, it's not like we waited 6 minutes for that game.
I noticed the same. I assume
instant queue into Murky
it's because it's so young and like it's a new MMR. Like, it's dropped everyone's old MMR.
That might be
and that's kind of my assumption. Obviously, we don't know this to be a fact. But it definitely, I mean, you know, one game I'm playing against Idra and LZ, and the next game we win in 8 minutes. Like,
there is no. I think they talked about it at BlizzCon, how they would try and, if you're queuing with a party of 2, we're gonna try and put you up against another person that's queuing with party 2, and that doesn't seem to be implemented at all as well. You know, we'll insta queue into like.
I probably don't have the numbers.
Like,
it's hard to tell. Yeah.
Well, when we'll hit friends, we'll look at their, like, you know, be it instant queue or whatever, we'll look at them and be like, oh, they're by themselves, and we're a 5-stack. Or day 1, Soldier, Arthlon, and Glaurung were trying to try queue to, you know, get better advantages or whatever it was from, like, having to avoid 5-stacks. And every game they played for, like, the first 4 hours was into a 5-stack. Like, instant queues. You know,
yeah, I was running into that a lot, and, like, I was queuing, and then I would get a 4-stack with me of, like, Kawaii Rice and all that, or it was Kawaii or was it Kiwikaki? I always get those two confused. Anyway, and then I'd look at the enemy team and I'd see like 3 pros in there, and I'd see like all of them were just by themselves. That was not good. Also, here's the weirdest thing. So now that we actually have, let me just adjust my webcam. It's a little high up. Now that we actually have solo queue ranked play and people get more hurt feelings, here's one thing I've really kind of noticed: the angriest players, for the most part, by and large, play Lily.
Or supports. I was good. Like I was thinking
Yeah,
the exact same thing. Lily in
it's
supports get so mad,
so angry.
so angry.
This one support was getting livid. Livid.
Yeah, I agree,
he
man.
was literally getting livid because I kept going back because he was out of mana. He couldn't heal me. But he's like, just stay, I'll heal you, I'll get the mana. And I was like, I'm just gonna go back. I'm dead, basically. And he was like, you go back too much. And I was like,
Step it up.
they are the angriest people, and they're the ones who are always the first to rage quit. They are always the first. Lilies and just supports in general. So I guess I wasn't wrong with all my Lily salt. Because the people who play Lily.
Jake, it's funny that you would say step it up.
Oh no, Ribs always webcam.
Oh, he just wanted to show the...
I thought it would show the webcam, and apparently everything went cray cray.
Well, you broke your webcam. Congratulations. You are now. There you go. There you go.
Hey, Lily back. Hey.
Step it up, says the support player on the show.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Okay. Well, Hero League in general, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about in that regard, so we can move over to the patch notes impressions. Let's start off with Thrall. Now, Thrall, we saw him at BlizzCon. We all thought he was really strong. We've now played him. He definitely feels very strong overall, and we've seen him a bit in competitive. But, Kubi, what are your thoughts on him?
I can give you some stats. How about that?
Yeah, let's go. It's beautiful.
That'd be fun. Okay, so again, referencing that same poll that CSD put out, which he said will be available in the next couple of days. I think he's going to make the thread and make all this. He's going to analyze some of the data for us. But in terms of just whether he feels balanced, it's actually pretty split. 40 to 31 for yes and no, and then the rest are unsure. So maybe not enough time yet, but it seems to be pretty split right now. How do you guys feel about that after having seen the tournaments this weekend, etc.?
I still fall in the unsure section.
Okay.
I find he's really strong without a team, like, because it seems like there's not the coordination to deal with him. But when there is a team, like, you're actually a coordinated effort, he seems pretty easy to deal with. Like, any type of CC to lock him down and not let him get those Wind Fury traits. He seems like he's not really easy, but he seems more manageable. Like, if people aren't focusing targets, he's difficult to deal with. If people are focusing targets, he's, he's in an okay spot.
Sundering is ridiculous. Like
Sundering,
the plays you can make with that
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
is pretty awesome. Like,
I
you
actually
hit that
wasn't
triangle.
expecting that. I thought for sure Earthquake would be the one that was
Well, we
like,
didn't know it was
the
getting
go-to.
nerfed.
That's
You know,
I mean, it was
it would
nerfed,
still
but like
be-
the general utility of it is still kind of similar to what it was in BlizzCon. You
I
know?
don't think so.
Yeah.
The,
The
pulses ruin
pulsing,
it.
you really think so? Well, there were pulses before, but the gap between the pulses was so small that
Yeah.
it was like
It's still, like, good, but it's
just Sundering
it's-
is
it's-
so much.
yeah.
10% less. So I just wasn't expecting. Like I realized that like yeah, it has like a huge amount of CC capability, but like the fact that the 1.5 second stun, and I just wasn't expecting that to be like 100-0 like for the pick on the heroics.
It's not
there.
Earthquake's not necessarily bad. I think we're gonna see like one day like where a team busted out against a random composition. It's like, oh, okay, so it's like, got situational use. But I think Sundering is gonna be the go-to.
I mean, there was one I don't remember what game it was in COTS, but we saw Sundering go down, hit like 3 people, knock them to the side, and that lined them up for Shocking-On.
Entering blast.
Hinterland, not hintering, hinterland.
Sorry, I was
This is
Trying to-
this is so hard for me. I'll get it eventually.
Hinterland
Hinterland
is
blast.
referencing the hinterlands, which is where Falstad originally lived.
Jake. What's the name
That's
of the level?
where Airy Peak is, where he is
Call
the
the Wild
Lord of
Hammer.
Airy Peak.
He's got that part down.
Call
He's
the
got
Wild
Call
Hammer.
the Wild Hammer.
Because
down.
he's
Can't
from
get
the
that
Wild
hinter-
Hammer clan from Airy Peak. I know that. God, do you even know who Redshirt Guy is? By the way, Blizz, where's my Redshirt Falstead? I need that skin stat.
I know, right? That's what I was just, like. One day.
Such distractions. All right, Jake, you probably played the most Thrall out of any of us, right? So how do
So
you feel?
Talented on him.
Solo queue,
it's just still talking.
Solo queue, he annihilates people. He's so strong in terms of 1v1. This Vala just vaulted forward aggressively against me and just gets blown up so quick. Like, he's the self-healing and stuff. If you build him into Wind Fury, you get Wind Shear, you get Battle Momentum, you have like a 3-second cooldown essentially on Wind Fury, and you get Envenom too, and people just melt. Very fun in 1v1. When it comes to teams though, when it comes to compositions, if they have the Uther and they just stun you Divine Storm, you just melt. Polymorph with Critter Eyes, you just disintegrate. So there are things that make him balance in a competitive environment where he just gets eliminated. Knowing how to skirt around the battlefield and kind of flank and stuff in a solo queue, though, he feels broken. He does. You just come around the backside where their Vala or their Nova are like trying to stay at distance, or Nazeebo or whatever, and you just delete them from the game. So yeah, I think he's
like a modified Kerrigan in a way. Like the playstyle I feel is somewhat similar.
Kind of. I feel that he's, in terms of competitive, I think he's in a great spot. I think he's going to have his place, especially with Sundering being honestly just so good. It's in certain maps. Yeah, Nazeebo's
with just, Judgment back, with Sundering back, and then you got Mighty Gust that can also interrupt it. Like, goodbye, Nazeebo.
Yeah, it's true. Nazeebo's going to be a much less common.
Well, not goodbye, but you know.
Well, Nazeebo will be like a 5th pick, not a 1st pick. It's like, okay, we can get away with Nazeebo here, and whereas we've seen 1st pick Nazeebo for quite some time, not with the new heroics and hero pool, not at all. So I don't know. I like Thrall a lot. We didn't see a ton of him. In COTS, we only saw Sundering. We did see Zuna actually pick up Earthquake. He did announce this was in ESL, Go for Heroes. He announced in the chat that it was a mistake. Kenma's like, he misclicked. So it was not intentional. That is
the hardest misclick.
Yes.
That one's the most punishing.
I was watching Team Scrim the other day, and an unknown team, or an unnamed team, misclicked Syndragosa, and that was fun to watch.
Ooh.
Misclicks, they are punishing. They are very punishing.
Do you guys think that there should be some kind of retribution or ability to go back and change if you misclick?
I think that could be abused so easily.
There was a Reddit thread where you could go back within like 5 seconds, like just an idea, like a proposed idea to like return your decision.
It still could be abused though, because if you see a one particular fight, if you're fast enough, click the heroic, use it, and then go back and change to the other one. Or so like, you would still get one use out of it, whatever it is.
Or even like for Envenom, like you take Envenom really quick on Brightwing, then swap the Powering Shield, or you take Blood for Blood and then you swap.
Well, like, so why didn't
you said a rule like what if you use it? Yeah. Like if it's a heroic or something, you use it, you're locked in. Or Envenom, you use it, you're locked in. Like
exactly, anything like that. Like if you pick a talent and you use that talent, or you pick a talent and you use any ability that uses that talent, you're locked in.
Like if you grab Brightwing and you grab the Gust. The healing, you force that, you're stuck with it. But Regenerative Rain, since it's a passive, that's a little bit different. So you're allowed to retract. But if it's inactivatable and you use it, you're stuck with it.
Here's something you could do. You could take Regenerative Rains, hit all of your spells, swap back to Gust, and then pick
That's
Gust.
a very specific thing. Yeah,
okay,
sure.
I'm just saying these things are possible.
Yeah, but
or you could just not misclick.
Bum, bum, bum.
I just wanted to hear what you guys' opinion.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
I mean, yeah, I see both arguments.
I think it's a good idea to have.
If they can implement it. Go ahead, Ken, sorry.
I was gonna say I think it's a good idea to have the ability. I mean, look at League of Legends. If you misclick buy something, you can immediately resell it for 5 seconds until you leave. Yeah.
You can't like buy items and use them like in combat, but you can't like if you accidentally click the wrong skill, like if you don't want to put a 5th point into this, you don't get the option to retract that.
But I mean, as long as you don't cast the ability or something like immediately, I think you should be able to have the like a Control Z function.
As long as they could implement it like and make it intuitive to new players without it like being confusing.
Yeah, I don't think it's that.
I really don't care either way. Like, sure, do it.
Okay.
Put it in the game, Corey.
All right.
Waiting on your approval.
Who are we talking about, Thrall?
We're talking about Thrall. Yeah. I think our overall impression was he's not God tier, but he's definitely going to see play at the moment.
Competitive players feel as though his kit is well-rounded and his talents are, for the most part, well-rounded.
Yeah,
both of those are over half.
Yeah.
So we saw Jaina this weekend. Sorry, just to.
Well, K1 Pro plays Jaina all the time because that's the only hero he originally knew how to play. Like, not trying to be BM. He literally
you threw the one word in. You threw the savior that originally. Yeah. Had he left that out,
no, he's starting to break. No, he came from, I believe, Dota, and he has not been playing the game very long. That's why Vortex is investing into him. Like he is a Dota player, like a really good one. I think it might be League. It's one of the two. Someone in chat will correct me.
Same game.
A MOBA player.
I kid.
And he's got great mechanics. And at first he was like only playing Jaina. I think that's the main reason they were picking him. I don't know for sure. But he's starting to branch out.
All right. Well, in terms of Thrall, yeah, I think we've talked about him pretty much, and yeah, it was interesting to see Jaina, and definitely saw some unique builds. Before we actually move to like other stuff, I actually want to just talk about Arthalon's Tyrande build. Did you guys actually happen to catch that?
I did.
Yeah.
Kuba
It's pretty good.
It's really cool. Just really different from what we typically see. And what do you guys think about that?
With the nerf to the owl build, for those that know, you can't have more than one owl on the map at a time. So like you can't like owl, rewind owl, and like burst them down. What? You can only have one owl out on the map. So that's like a huge nerf to her initial burst, which made that so. He's been trying things out, and the build is... I don't remember all the exact talents, but it definitely looked cool, and it felt good. I think he takes the increased width on, or the increased radius on the E13 or something.
That's that's the Lunar Flare upgrade. He gets battle momentum. He gets shield ally. No, healing ward. Actually, he changed it up. He changed level 4 up a few times. So it's some cool stuff that happens in there. But okay, Sky Temple.
All right, so let's. I mean, I guess without trying to go too much into like the esports side of things, we did see it played a couple times. I don't want to say to attempt to cheese, but perhaps some teams felt as though others were not as practiced on it. But it seemed actually pretty balanced from what I saw. Pretty balanced. Mule is super strong on it.
Yeah.
Double Mule.
Mule is very strong.
Hype.
Yo, that game, Symbiote
Mule's
versus
insane.
Maelstrom, was actually pretty nuts.
It was. You use the term balance, and like...
I don't know. It's...
Yeah, you know what?
No, you guys ain't feeling that?
It's so if you want to call snowbally balance, or
That's
if you
fine,
wipe at the
but,
boss,
alright,
you
hey.
lose the game balance. Then
Half of the competitive players do agree.
Really?
50% said that they feel Sky
I think
Temple
we
is a
need
balanced
more
game.
time. Right? I can
That's
definitely
fine.
for sure say
That's fine.
it is.
But can you
very
just say
fun
that
map.
it's? Can you just already just say no? It's how do you say it's balanced? But if you say it's more time, that's fine. But
Yeah.
you can't just slap an opinion on it right away. I guess.
I think strategically, a lot of people are missing. I think what would be the more strategic calls on how to play it. It seems like a lot of people are just kind of like, all right, we'll let them have one, we'll have another. But if there's ever a team that's an advantage, sometimes I feel like they don't make the right calls in order to take advantage of the strategy I think that should be or exhibited on the map. Because they'll always be like, all right, well, we'll leave this one guy here, and then we'll have 4 people go up top or something like that. I see in competitive play. It's
Yeah,
like,
that
well,
happened.
why wouldn't you just bring all 5, make it a team fight up there, because they have to deal with creeps as well, and then just get both trends when you have a real map advantage? I see a lot of weird strategy calls
Yeah, people are trying to
that
figure
tend
out.
to make it more balanced, but I feel like if people actually... I mean, I don't want to say I know better, but I feel like I've seen a couple of strategies that don't really take advantage of situations as much as they could.
That's fair. I mean, of course, we
Coming
need
from
to
the-
see,
coming
we need
from
to
an
see a lot more
overseas player.
games played on the map too, because
Yeah.
that strategy was just put out, and then it's like people will have time to analyze this and then counter it next time they see it. The reason that I just said initially looking at it, it felt balanced is because we saw that game where there was one team that pretty much had control of every shrine throughout the entire game, and it actually still went to level 20 plus because a weird strategy. They take double mule, and it seemed to kind of yeah, you laugh, but it worked, right? That game was super close and very competitive. So
But they still lost, right?
is it what?
They still lost, right?
The double mule, yeah.
Yes, they still
So-
lost, but
Spoilers.
okay. Yeah, you're right, Jared. But
To the point where
they could have won. Yes, they definitely could have.
that map is so this map has the hardest there is a time limit on this map that is more extreme than black carts, because with black carts you have diminishing returns on your turn-in. Eventually it's going to take more and more coins to get these turn-ins, making it the coins are still valuable, yes, but it makes it harder and harder to get each turn on. Not on this map. Every shrine is the exact same power. So once you lose that foothold and you're having trouble to get back in the game, the time limit on this map is much shorter than any other map. Eventually, you're just out of time because even I think Soldier said yesterday, one of them, if there's no keeps left, one shrine takes core. If you get all the ammo and the charged shot, one shrine takes the core, and that just seems it's a fun map. I love playing on it. It's definitely a nice change of pace, but I think it's a bit too. Like if you lose the early game, it is very difficult to come back. There are ways you can throw on this map, and we've seen that lots of times, but the shrines do not seem to have a.
I'd say
because it's every 2 minutes after one ends, so you know when they're going to spawn, and there's like at least for the first 4 of them, you can determine where they're going to spawn, so you can kind of be prepared for that. But at some point, it just comes to the point where we have lost all our forts. We're down to 1 keep. There's 2 shrines up. We have to put pressure on one of them. We can't put pressure on both, so they're just going to get the other one and win because of it.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about the whole like 3 can appear at a time. That's
Wait, 3 can appear at once? I know 2 can appear.
Yeah, 3 can appear at one time.
I've never seen 3 appear.
Yes.
That must be a long game.
Yeah, no, it's not that long.
It happens. Like, it does happen like much. I've seen it twice, and it was pretty late game. But like the fact that can happen is, that's kind of. I'm not sure about that idea. Yeah. But I had a. Well, I think the map feels better than Blackheart's. I do. It just.
That might just be like a fresh new map feel.
Maybe.
We'll have to see how we feel in a few
I just
months.
think that Mule counters the mechanic better than it does in Blackheart's. And
then you're limited to like. Well, we want to go Brightwing right now, but now I have to go Uther because of Mule, or not Mule, excuse me, Malfurion. And that's I've always been cool with picking heroes. I don't know that kind of never mind. I just don't like
It does make it.
Mule has such a huge power on that map.
It does. It really does, and like that's something people. I mean, we're gonna see people drafting around that for sure. Like, but is that bad necessarily? I don't know. It's hard to.
I don't know. Yeah, I started to make it seem like it was bad. And like we see like heroes having certain like. Oh, well, you don't want heroes to be Gunstar map. Well, that hammer's good on Dragonshire, and we don't want to really take that away from her right now. Like, so I don't know. We'll see.
So I mean, that like we were talking about Cleanse earlier being super strong, right? So you have Brightwing and Uther that have that. I mean, like Uther doesn't have Mule, so like is he as good on that map now? But Cleanse is still really good. There's options that teams have to weigh, and just for supports, there's other heroes, of course, that have it as well. So, I don't know. Well, I want to see more competitive games on it, of course, before I like give like any kind of opinion on it, but.
It is fun to play right now. That's like the only concrete thing I have. It's very fun.
I'm not like against seeing it in competitive. Like usually, if I see Blackheart's, it's like okay, what shenanigans are coming out here? Like I don't expect a great game to come out of a Blackheart's in competitive, but I'm still okay when they pick Sky Temple. It's like all right, like let's see what they have right now. So yeah, not as bad as Blackheart's right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think.
What?
I just pointed out something from the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good map. But I still find it felt like in the playthrough at BlizzCon, it felt like there's too many things to do at once that you could never be at the right spot at the right time. Maybe just because now I have like a little bit less of I've never seen this map before, but it feels like it's kind of just it's another place where it's kind of really clear cut to where to be all the time, except for when there's like 2 shrines up.
When 3 spawn,
it's equal.
It just ends the game. Like it's like literally almost every time 3 times we spawn, it's like okay, the game ends here. Like,
yeah, that's a good point, Kev. Because the boss is probably the hardest boss to take on any of the maps. It's the tight quarters, and then the new ability that it has with the whirlwind, where it pushes you into walls. Like it's so scary to.
We have decided.
No. It's not even. I completely disagree with you there. It's not the point. It's not the part that it's the tight corridors. I don't think it's the problem with the fact that it's got that whirlwind. Where is it on the map? Right between low.
Yeah, that's true.
Between bot and mid. That is the easiest thing. It's like, where could they possibly be? Well, we don't have to spend any effort scouting, because in Blackheart, you can do a sneaky way to get to there.
True.
And even if you're at the bottom part of the map, you got to go all the way up, and they could probably get the grave by then. You see somebody bot, you're like, okay, we can't take grave. The only way you can take it in this map is if you've taken out 3 other people, because it's just I don't like where it is because it's too easy to get to.
We've decided that we either wipe them to take it, or we let them start it first. Like,
Yeah,
don't start the boss on your own if they're not at least dead. Like, if at least 3 of them aren't dead, because
we saw that
it
too.
is
in
so
games.
easy to wipe that thing.
Yeah, over the weekend we saw that a lot in games. The team would just sit there in the bushes waiting to party bush the other team. They would sit there for like 30 seconds. It's like, okay, competitively, these people realize too, like how risky it actually is. Even when you don't have like communication, it's scary. Like when
we said that, didn't we? Didn't we say that the boss pit was gonna be like wipe central?
What, at BlizzCon?
Yeah,
Or-
I'm pretty sure we said that like it was gonna like
Maybe.
that boss pit lures everybody to throw their
You gotta
team.
be right
into
every
it.
once in
Or like we called it.
Oh my god!
I'm pretty sure we called it the throw pit. Like
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
because strategically it's such a hard place to actually get any type of advantage, and it's like if I think it would be awesome if it was some place where the shrines weren't, or like where the shrines. But I mean, the shrines are spread so far across the map, it's impossible. But like like if there's the shrines are up and you're already losing the shrines, then you can go for the boss. It'd be like a strategic. But that I feel like that would be too much zero or one. I don't know.
Programmer speak.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's something that perhaps they will mess with. I mean, they've certainly shown that they're willing to tweak maps with Haunted Mines. That map has undergone so many changes in terms of where things are placed, etc. So,
I mean, it's fun. Like that map is like different in almost every way than any other map. So like I'm cool from like testing out new maps and stuff and like different mechanics to see what works. Like the shrines, they're powerful the entire game, no matter how many you've gotten. The boss is different. It's in a unique spot. I mean, it's fine that they are willing to experiment, but.
How do you feel about the size of the map? This is another question that CSD asked in that survey. So
I think it's a good size.
I think it's fine. I think it might be a little too small. Well, I could be a bit bigger.
Too small?
You think it's too small?
I would say if anything, it's on the larger side.
I think it's easy to run from one lane
Isn't
to
it
another.
the biggest map in the game?
Is it?
I think it is.
No, cursed.
Not from going from lane. Not from going from lane
Cursed
to lane.
is definitely
Top
big.
shrine to bottom shrine, I think might be further than top to bottom on cursed.
Really? Maybe I don't know. It feels like going from lane to lane for ganks. It feels super easy. Like it feels like there's almost no time doing so.
It's weird because the shape is different.
Yeah,
It's like a diamond.
Maybe the shape
Diamond
messes with my head.
I
But
don't know
like
what
when running
shapes
late,
are, but I don't like this business.
Shapes.
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It just like whenever you go for ganks, like it just feels like the map is. I don't know. I guess maybe because the distance between like they put on. This is the like well I guess Black Harps too, but the distance between top and mid is like probably more than double the length or the distance between mid and bottom.
Yeah.
Like ganking mid from bottom is like super easy to do. Maybe that's what throws me off, but I don't know. It just feels like ganking on the map. I don't know. I think the shape as well as the size is fine.
Words.
Words.
I don't know.
What do you
We'll
think
see.
about like some of the weird bushes that exist and like that bottom bridge that can totally be like flanked around the bottom lane?
I like that. I like that bridge because it's not Murder Bridge like in Dragonshire. It's like, oh, you have only one way into this top lane, and
That's
you
true.
can't get away from it. Like that at least causes the bridge with the side path is great because you can escape on it, but you can also be punished for escaping
Right.
on it. On Dragonshire, that's it. That's all
true.
she wrote.
True.
You can go for, you have two different choices: the more open area that takes longer, or the smaller area that is quicker to go through. So yeah, I think it's a good double. I think other than that, though, I mean, the map is pretty good. I think the biggest problem I have is that this game has probably far too many choke points. Look at bottom shrine. Oh my god,
Oh,
getting
it's-
into
Yeah,
bottom
that's
shrine.
terrifying.
It's
Good
a
luck
nightmare.
if the team's already there. There's no way you're gonna win that.
Our composition, we were playing on it. We had, I think, Thrall, Illidan, and then our tank. I think it was ETC or Arthas or something. But we were just trying to get in there, just to like do our thing, and it just didn't go well. Like we were
Amazing.
just body blocking each other. Like they were body blocking, and it was just absolute nightmare. But it's like a cool thing because some heroes like really benefit from that. Like you have, roots from mouth. Like they can just ruin the enemy team, and make plays.
them.
But all in all, I think it's a solid map. But okay, I think we can actually talk a little bit more about some of the other patch impressions. So
Can I just eat crow now because people want to get it out
yeah,
of the way?
Falstad, go.
Yeah, Falstad, to lose 2/3 of his mobility, it is a nerf, but he's still in a great spot. A lot of the talents they added to him. I was telling Kubi about the Coffin Luck build. They're like it's more like a tanky, like to if you have heroes diving on you like an Illidan and stuff, allows you to build up shield charges and you get first aid and stuff, and that feels good and stuff. And his damage is still pretty solid. So he's still in a really good spot. Losing Rewind definitely because you have to play him more safe. Like before, you could kind of be like a bit ballsy with Falstad and go a little bit deep and get ham, but
Ballsy,
now
go
like,
deep.
I just heard that.
okay, it was not intended, bro.
Sorry.
Usually, I'm the one that makes
Beautiful,
okay.
beautiful.
Oh, that was good.
Anyways, yeah, you have to be a little bit more safe with him, but a lot of his talents make up for the loss of mobility, and it definitely like. And just ignoring Mighty Gus or whatever it's called, like his normal builds. There's multiple ways you can build him now that feel good, and he's still in a solid spot.
Thoughts on the auto attack build? I don't even know the names of the talents.
The one where like as your Q's out,
Secret
Yeah.
weapon.
you get the crits. That feels good. That's
Really?
the
I
preferred one.
wasn't a fan of it. I mean, I didn't try it like a.
If you get power throw with it, you can get a lot of auto attacks all
you can
lines
get
out.
4 in.
Yeah.
And
Get 4 in by the time it comes back. I don't know if that's worth it. And then you have a 10-second cooldown before you can throw the next hammer. If you still had rewind, yeah, it might be a thing. But I'm a little skeptical of it. But
Those doing pretty good damage.
I think that's the tier with hammering, right?
What's that?
The new hammering I don't like. That's the tier with it, right? They're the same tier, the crits and then
I'm not
The
sure.
other
It's got boomerang.
yeah, the hammering or whatever it's called. Yeah, boomerang.
Yeah.
I think it's better than boomerang, but there's been a lot of different Falstad builds. Like no one has like found like this is the only way to like. I'm sure someone like this is the only way to play them, but like every time you see a different players playing Falstad that's at like a high level, that's like slightly different variations, which is cool.
Yeah, no.
People are still trying to figure out how to play him, and he definitely still feels good. Mighty Gust is like the most troll and fun heroic in the entire game. I have died many times flying behind the enemy line and then gusting them into us. And
But how many
it's worth.
sick plays have you had?
It's like 50-50. It's like 50-50 like this was the dumbest thing you've ever done or this was the coolest thing you've ever done.
Do you think competitively we're going to be seeing it? Because we
Very
saw it once at COTS, it didn't really end well.
I think
Yeah.
that the
Oh, we
You're-
cast
you're
it.
give
We
up
were
a-
casting it together, yeah.
you give up so much damage for it. That's
Yeah.
the issue. Like you grab Falstad for your burst damage in team fights, like burst
I'm
AoE.
sure- I think it's going to be the same place of Earthquake, where it's like we're going to see it busted out very rarely, but when it does, it's going to be like, oh, that was cool, and we
Well,
see why you
that's
took
true.
it.
It's
Or
like
it'll-
in theory, if you have nothing to counteract Nazebo, maybe that's the right call. Like
It
you
does
know, for
interrupt
Ravenous,
Ravenous.
It's good for that.
If they've got 2 channeling heroes, I'm almost on the camp of always take it.
And the
If they
level
have,
20 version is hilarious. Like if you pin them up against the wall, like we've done that a few times
my
where they're
God.
pinned against the wall.
It's
like
so
it
funny.
makes me want to break my keyboard in rage watching it happen to other people. Like if I was to experience that, like you can't move for like 6 seconds.
Like,
it's just
but-
thump, thump,
but
You
like-
fly over people and you just push them into your
No.
your keep or towers, and you just giggle. You just like sit there at your computer, giggling like
it is fun, but you give up the epic mount.
you do.
It's
Yeah,
it's
epic
such a
mount's awesome.
such a tough choice to make in that case.
That is.
Yeah. That was before
I actually we were playing a losing game last night, and I was playing Falstad, and we hit level 20 just barely, and the other team was like 24 at this point. And I picked up Epic Mount
Damn.
and a tribute. Shut up. And a tribute spawns, and they all like mounted up from our core, like they were just about to core us, and I just flew to the other end of the map like almost instantly and got the tribute before they got there.
Yeah. I got hooked. I got hooked gorge and was able to fly out instantly with it. Like when normally it's like, oh, that's a dead Falstad, you know.
Yeah, they
But-
need an extra stun, and they have to time it within that half.
They have to synergize it and stuff,
Yeah.
like, or you can just get out of there. And Faye told me to something today that I think we all played StarCraft. You can still use positional map hotkeys. And what Faye does is she has hotkeys in certain areas, like she'll place them around team fights. So if she does get into a bad situation, she can press the positional hotkey and fly to that spot.
That's actually so good.
Yeah. The moment she told me about that, I
You can
went and
cast it on
set
the mini map
hotkeys.
though. Why not just cast it on the
Well, because that means you have to move your mouse. But I mean, like with a positional hotkey, you
Oh,
don't
I
have
see.
to move your hand at
It's-
all.
it's like-
literally as fast
faster.
as possible.
It's
Okay,
instant
I got you.
click.
No, that's fair. Okay.
It's cool.
That is very
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, Falstad seems pretty good. We'll have to see, I guess, a little bit more competitive play. But I do like the fact that everybody's kind of picking different builds. It's kind of like Jaina. Like, everybody's got a little bit of their own special thing with it.
Their own little waffle going on, yeah.
Yeah, their own little pancake going on.
Abathur, very underwhelming
Yeah, I would.
compared to what we thought he was going to be. He's not necessarily bad,
But
but we
what
were
you
all expecting
thought.
him.
top six.
What
Do-
you
no.
thought it's going to be.
Do
You
not
said
pin this
top
only on
six.
me.
You said
Yeah,
top six.
I did
said
say
top
top
six.
6, but none of you thought he would be underwhelming. So don't just throw this under
I
me.
said he was gonna be like really mid-ish.
I'm gonna like slap you, QB.
Go back and watch the VOD.
I'm gonna go back and
Do
watch
it.
the VOD.
This is what happens. Like, everybody's like, go back and watch your replay. It's,
You're
neither
broke.
of you are going to do it.
He
Bro,
feels good, man.
I don't need to watch
he
anything.
does not. He does not feel as good as we thought.
Yeah.
He's
That-
not
to be
bad.
fair- to be fair, for your sake, Jared, there were a lot of stealth changes to him
Yes.
that makes him considerably worse than just looking at the patch notes. So
Yeah, I always forget about those, but yeah. And
Oh,
he's,
the undocumented
it's not bad,
changes.
but he's not as good as we thought we'd be.
The horror, or
The horror.
what is it? His second heroic-
Monstrosity.
monstrosity.
yes,
Yeah, it's
So-
that's a definite. Every time we team fight, it's going to be a 4v5.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't feel good.
The thing about it, like, okay, so it says like maximum stack of 30. Even when pushing a big wave as hard as I could, I have never once hit 30 stacks
Yeah.
on that thing before it died.
They need to
and it
scale-
wasn't killed; it just expired.
I think they need to condense that. The
Yeah.
stats condense that number. Maybe have
Absolutely.
it. Maybe just have it. Honestly, but 30 is actually a lot, and you're investing so much time like farming
Yeah.
with that thing, and that kind of deters
Well-
from the core idea of
The
Abathur
thing
being all
is-
over the place.
the thing is, if the symbiote build becomes like the norm for Abathur and he like somehow picks up more in competitive play, that would actually be the picked heroic. Surprisingly, like you would just throw in a lane before a team fight, and then you're on symbiote the whole time. You're not
Depends
even
on the
cloning.
hero, but yeah.
Right.
Like there's some heroes that can get cloned, like we were talking about before the pre-show.
Yeah.
ETC is a really solid clone target just because he's got two different he's got a displacement and a stun part of his kit. So having two of that in a fight is not necessarily bad. Vala's an okay hero just because multi-shot and the Q can do decent damage. But other than that, like so many heroes fall off without their heroic. So you're absolutely right. I think that might be the case. If you're going symbiote, you might be taking that more than often.
Doesn't make it good though.
We saw 0 Abathurs during Kings of the Storm this week.
None that we cast.
No, we didn't cast any either.
Yeah.
I don't think we casted anything. Yeah,
I've seen it a few times in scrims.
Not-
Is he
Not
the most
surprised.
changed? He might be the most changed hero though.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is
Yeah,
the
he
most changed hero. So it's gonna not too surprising that they haven't figured out where
Sure.
he stands right now. First look doesn't look good, but
So Resurgence was taken out of the game. Let's talk about a Resurgence. Lily Stormstout is back on the plate.
you had an opportunity, and you. Okay. I'm disappointed.
I don't understand what happened.
I feel like you had an opportunity for a joke there, but no. Okay.
Listen. I'm really good at
Moving
puns,
on,
but I'm
moving
not
on.
constantly brewing them.
going to
well,
bed.
we're just about shout out time before we get ready for the next part of the show.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about more. Yeah.
We can't finish the Levy talk.
Lily, she's back, better than ever. She's kind of annoying to deal with.
Yeah, her healing is like if you don't have a stun like immediately for Lily's jugs or just Lily in general, if you let something get away, 10 seconds later that target's gonna be full health and back in the fight. Like her
Sure.
healing is insane. And with the herbal cleanse at 16, and then you get Kung Fu Hustle at 20, she is extremely annoying to deal with. She's not as good as Uther or Brightwing just because she doesn't have like the polymorph and the stuns. She's like mouth tier right now, and she feels good. She's definitely like, she's not Sham tier anymore. She's
Is Chef
back
the
to
only
Lily
one
tier.
playing? At least
Yes.
this past weekend, Chef was the only one that I saw grabbing Lily. But
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
that changed? Do you guys see more people picking her now?
I don't think
I see it in scrims and stuff. I don't think we casted any games though from.
Yeah, I think everybody was still a little bit shy about her still.
It was only like 4 or 5 days after the patch, so
Right.
Yeah, so most people are still kind of playing with what they knew was still going to work. I mean, there was a lot of interesting notes, especially out of the EU scene, that a lot of them were still saying that we're going to be seeing Muradin be second tier to Stitches. I don't know.
Yep.
I haven't seen too many European matches. I know Caldor just posted one on Reddit. I didn't actually get to watch yet.
Muradin's in a good spot. His mobility makes a good difference.
yeah,
he's
it's,
very-
it's crazy.
But we do need to do our shout-outs, as this is the end of the actual show. We are going to have a post-show where there will be more keys. So do stick with us for that. But this is where the VOD will end up cutting. We've got about 6 minutes. So, Jared, shout-outs for you.
Oh, just a great show. Thanks, guys, for working hard, and thanks to Blizzard for sending us John. We got to all meet him at BlizzCon, and it's really an honor for him to actually come on our show.
Yeah.
And I think someone posted in chat earlier, but big shout out to Blizzard for sending us those keys to help give to the community. You guys follow me at Zoya_TV at Twitter. You guys can follow me on Twitch. I stream Heroes every day now when I'm not getting DDoSed over at twitch.tv/ZoyaTV.
Why would you say that?
I
It
know.
happens all the time, man. It's been an everyday thing.
Oh God.
And I don't really have much shoutouts right now. Just we worked hard and we reached a new peak today of badassery. It felt good. This show felt good, so I'm happy about that.
Kevo.
Just to echo Jared real quick, thank you so much, Blizzard, as well as Tim and the PR teams and everybody at Blizzard for making this happen today, as well as the beta keys. It's awesome. Of course, you can follow me on twitter.com/sham2, as well as youtube.com/sham2, and I stream once a week, twice a week on mlg.tv/sham2 if you want to go give that a follow. I will be posting a free week probably tomorrow if I get a chance to.
Are you playing?
I haven't been to the gym in like forever. I'm probably actually going to be playing. Ooh, I had a poll. I actually completely forget who was winning.
Sonya!
Rip.
No, I'm not playing Sonya. I'm not playing Kubi's secret Sonya build, because the only way I'm going to be playing Sonya right now is his build, because I think I've seen a good amount of it, or at least have a good idea of what he's going with it. So I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Sergeant Hammer or Stitches, I think, are the two that are winning right now.
Hope you get Dragonshire. Or Cursed if you get Stitches. Have
No,
you
if I
done
play Stitches,
yet?
I could just play anybody.
You haven't done Stitches yet? I'm surprised.
I haven't done Stitches yet. I know my hooks are better than Kubi's.
Well,
Wrecked.
Kubi.
Sit.
Kubi.
Sit. Look at that face. Look how. Oh man.
Oh man! Now aren't you a little bit upset about signing that email as world's best Diablo? Yeah, okay, buddy. You can do that in an email. I'm doing this on stream.
No, that's it. I don't have anything.
Follow Kubi on Twitter at the Kubi.
He's got like 250 followers. He's gaining them quick. So
Yeah.
go follow him.
And on that note, go check out our Facebook, Town Hall Heroes, and our Twitter, Town Hall Heroes. Because we, like Kev said earlier, we're going to be giving out more keys throughout the week over on those social networks. He put them in the chat there for your convenience. And yeah, I mean, just to kind of, again, be just repeating ourselves here. Just, again, Blizzard, thank you so much for all the support. Of the show. It actually is kind of crazy to have our second Blizzard employee here on the show, and I think these are the first ever keys being raffled in the community, so that's really ridiculous, and I don't know what else to say other than thank you so much, and I'm excited to continue being part of this community as it grows and becomes, the best community out there. Everyone in the chat, if you're a new viewer, welcome, and if you're a veteran, we love you just as much. And that's, again, just follow the channel here. I stream Heroes just about every single day. I cast tournaments just about every weekend with this guy, sometimes with some of his other guys. I got some other stuff in the pipe.
Longest
I know. And the
I wonder
YouTube.
he wanted 8 minutes to do this. Jeez.
Ah, it's not that long.
Go ahead.
Not my fault. You have no social stuff, Kubus Maximus.
I didn't even get a chance. You just talked over me. All right, you know what? No.
You said you were done.
You said you were done.
Yeah, done like Kubi's
okay.
hooks.
He's done. Bye.
Wow, he really just walked out of the room.
He did. He's
I was
done.
Yeah,
gonna say,
I saw him close the
Kubi,
door.
don't go. You're pretty gorgeous.
Nope. Oh God, that's terrible.
Jesus.
Yeah. So just follow everything, and we're gonna be playing some games with Kubi. He's
We have
Chef.
special guests, chefs.
Special guest, Mr. Chef.
What's up, Kubi?
Kubi, you're back. You missed my my joke. I said, "Don't go away, anybody. You're pretty gorgeous."
You can leave now.
What's the matter? Was that joke too putrid for you?
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
We're gonna be getting a new fifth. We got Chef coming in. We're gonna
Yep.
replace Kev. So
Yeah. So on that note,
Wow,
that's
way
gonna,
to just slam me.
that's gonna
done. End the show. Cut the bond.
that's gonna do it here for Town Hall episode 47. Rip Kubix Maximus. Rip Gorgeous Slamimus. And we will be back in just a few minutes. The stream will go down for a moment, and we will come back with Town Hall post-show games with Liquid Chef joining us, who's on Cloud9, and that's very confusing.
It's okay.
Call
'cause
out.
I
We'll
love
be
him
giving
just
away
the
keys
same.
is the important.
More keys on the way with those games for the post-show shenanigans. Guys, stay tuned.
That's